Hello and welcome to Rampart. I'm Joe Aston. My guest on this episode is Nick Molnar. He founded the buy now, pay later phenomenon Afterpay at 24. He was a self-made billionaire before the age of 30. Arguably, he's done what few other billionaire founders would and decided to stay on at Block, the American payments company that bought Afterpay in 2022. Here's Nick on the importance of staying grounded, on his boss Jack Dorsey, and why Australia is a great place for startups. I hope you enjoy it. Rampart Talks is brought to you by Resolve Forensic. When financial disputes head to court, the numbers become the battlefield. Trusted by Australia's top law firms and corporates, Resolve brings sharp analytical insight to forensic accounting, business valuations, and dispute consulting, unencumbered by the conflicts of the big firms. Their court-tested expertise delivers the clarity you need when confusion isn't an option. Visit resolveforensic.com.au. Nick Molnar, welcome to Rampart.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
It's great to be with you here in LA, a city you now call home. What's it been like to set up a new life here?
Moving to the US was, I think, really interesting. I arrived just with my wife and we had no kids. And we kind of had no network. And then fast forward, it's been 7-8 years since we first, came to San Francisco and then moved to LA. And now we just have an incredible network. Our family's here. My brother moved over here. Our parents are here all the time. And so it really has started to feel like home. And I love Australia. I love my life, particularly in Bondi. But I feel really challenged every day here by humble, great people that are moving the world forward, and it's inspiring.
It feels to me, if I had to summarize you in very, very few words, it feels to me like you're a natural-born salesman.
Yes, I think that's my superpower. And more than selling, I feel like I can build relationships and understand people. But it's always been in my DNA as to, where do the opportunities exist? Like I remember when I was like 13 at East Rugby, you got those boxes of Freddo frogs,
yep.
And you sold them and then you gave the money to charity.
Yep.
And it was like each Freddo is $1. So I sold them for $5 and everyone bought them, and after I'd sold a quarter of the packet, and I'm like, Mum, I've made all the money. Like, can I keep the profit? And she's like, categorically, you cannot keep the profit. Like, you go and sell the entirety of that box, and you give all the money that you're gonna make. But like, I don't know, my mind just kind of thought like that often, and even when I get to like the scales of what we're operating now, it's funny how the basics still all become the tactics and the basics keep prevailing.
Yeah. So after Freddo Frogs came Afterpay, and which many viewers and listeners will know is the buy now, pay later company you co-founded with Anthony Eisen. In retrospect, do you realize how extraordinary it is that you did that at the age of 24?
Absolutely. And I feel every day that the gift that I've been given in my life is like completely unfounded. And I think that I know that Ant and I talk about it every single day. I remember when we first started, or even when the concept was first conceived, I went over to Anthony's house to help him move a bookcase. He was my neighbor. He lived across the road from my parents' place, and he asked me, my dad, my brother to come and move furniture somewhere in his house. And then we sat down and we started talking about how millennials were now using debit cards and not credit cards. And, the construct of how a credit card works is, obviously not in the favor of the consumer because they make money when someone goes late, not when they pay back on time. And it's amazing how when you get like a validation from someone like Anthony, who I looked up to so much when I was, 23 having this conversation, that was like, oh my God, he's responding to this. This is real. Like what I'm saying of this like little trend could be a thing. And then that partnership was born.
So early 2022, instead of putting your feet up, you decide to stay on at Square, which is now called Block, of course. I suspect there are many founder billionaires who would never countenance stepping down a rung to access a much bigger opportunity. How have you found that?
I don't feel like I've stepped down a rung in a way. I feel like I've stepped up. I look at Block, and I don't think there are many financial, technology companies that have a more diversified set of assets, more scale. We're talking tens of millions of consumers, millions of sellers, hundreds of billions of dollars of payment volume. And I'm like, how does a kid from Australia have the privilege to play in that sandbox? Like that's the way I look at it. And I believed that Block was the right partner for Afterpay. And that was why we did that deal. And more specifically, the relationship with Cash App was very apparent to me in the US of what that could do to our growth curve.
A message now from our partner Ray White Commercial. In commercial property, scale matters, and so does local expertise. Ray White Commercial operates through more than 50 businesses across Australia and New Zealand, each owned by respected local leaders who know their markets intimately. They are part of Australasia's largest real estate group, delivering bespoke service with the backing to execute complex transactions. From office and retail to industrial and development sites, RWC combines capability with agility. They're also the competition creators, running the country's largest auction program for commercial assets. For the hottest commercial opportunities delivered monthly, subscribe to Portfolio magazine at raywhitecommercial.com. A link to do that is also in the episode notes. And a message from BHP. When mining performs, Australia prospers. Around 600,000 Australians directly hold BHP shares, while millions more own them through super funds. Over the last decade, BHP contributed $103 billion to Australian governments, funding Medicare, hospitals, schools and infrastructure. As global competition for critical minerals intensifies and nations scramble to secure supply chains, Australia sits at a strategic crossroads. The question isn't whether Australia will continue to rely on mining, it's how we'll maintain world-class governance and environmental standards while competing for global investment. As the world's largest mining company, BHP believes Australia can lead on both fronts. For insights on resources and Australia's economic future, visit bhp.com. Tell us about Jack Dorsey, the founder of Twitter and now your boss at Block. What kind of boss is he?
I think Jack is one of the best visionaries in the world. I think he sees the future better than anyone that I've met, honestly.
You can't see the future better than Anthony Eisen.
I think Jack sees the future better than Anthony Eisen. I think Anthony is incredible. It's like I'm short term, Anthony's medium term, and Jack's long term. Yeah. Like that's the way I would describe it. Jack is a big reason why I still feel like an entrepreneur, even though I work within a big company, because there's a lot of trust in the system. There's a lot of trust in his team, and he gives rope for the team to go and execute. But the way that he can continue to push us forward, he speaks a lot about he's got like credits, like reputational credits internally within the company, and he feels the best when he's pushing so hard that the company's saying, "You're wrong. I don't understand you." Like that's when he knows he's at his efficient frontier. And it's like Cash App, like the company didn't want Cash App to exist. The company didn't think, it was like Venmo was in existence, PayPal was in existence. It was like Cash App should never exist. But Jack gave it the air cover to exist. Bitcoin, same thing. Like there are so many examples of bets that have been placed that are a result of Jack's ability to believe in the fundamentals of what should prevail and give those entrepreneurs the air cover internally to execute.
He seems like a pretty earnest dude.
What do you mean by earnest?
Like, I can't imagine him cracking too many jokes.
No, he does.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think he is humble, kind. I think leadership is lonely. I think leadership is challenging because everyone's leaning on you. And I think the moment a relationship moves, as I said, to being 50-50, and you know how you can play a role in that person's life and they know the role they can play in your life, it all starts to prevail. I think Jack is an intimidating character for a lot of people, but I know Jack doesn't want to be an intimidating character. It's like you email Jack, he reads everything. People internally, they want to contact him about any topic, share their opinion. He will read it. He will share his honest opinion. So it's about how I think the company continues to push itself and embrace that is challenging because of the intimidation. But I believe that that's what Jack wants.
So what's it like in block board meetings when you look across the table at your old, neighbour, Anthony Eisen, and then in the chair next to him is another block director, Jay-Z. That has got to be surreal.
I think a lot of my life is very surreal.
Look, just finally, so you're building a house on Bondi Beach. You obviously come home regularly with your family. Are you plugged into the world of Aussie startups? Does the next sort of 24-year-old Nick Molnar seek you out for your advice?
Often, and I do my best to stay as plugged in as I can, and to be as available as I can. I find my interactions a lot of the time when they're looking to come to the US, when they're on the ground here, and I can have them over for a Friday afternoon coffee at my house, and we can talk about what they're trying to solve and how them as an Australian company's looking to come here and prove themselves here. But often they'll be like, I'm here for a week. It's like, no, but when are you moving? Like, when are you going to really pay the respect to the opportunity that if you want to go global, you got to go global? I think too many Australian companies try and stay in Australia to go global. And there are examples of that work. Atlassian's a great example. Canva's a great example. But I think, those that are driving like on-ground networks, you generally have to be here.
Rampart Talks is exclusively for Rampart subscribers. To watch or listen to the full episode, go to rampart.news. A final message from Resolve Forensic. Every valuation tells a story of future cash flows, of risk and return, of market comparables. But in disputes, opposing stories can differ by hundreds of millions of dollars. Resolve Forensic brings discipline to the art of valuation. Whether it's a squeeze-out transaction under scrutiny, earn-out provisions in dispute, or economic loss requiring quantification, they build valuations from first principles. Their independence from audit and advisory relationships means no pressure to support a predetermined number, just rigorous analysis anchored in market reality and tested methodology. For valuations grounded in discipline, visit resolveforensic.com.au.